Mr. B in that old trophy case. Number 4 we're still waiting for, well, bring on the chase. Out on the field at Mile High, Broncos win is our desire. Coupled with a break, brew and a friend, bleed orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us, DNVR. We are DNVR.
We are DNVR, and we are live from Studio A here at the DNVR Bar. The A stands for a lot of confidence coming out of Vegas for the Denver Broncos. We'll talk about that. Shout out to our presenting sponsor, MSU Denver. MSUdenver.edu/online is where you want to check them out. And MSU Denver Online is the place to go if you want to work a full-time job and further your education, because students that attend MSU Denver Online work twice as many hours as students attending any other college institution. It is the perfect place to go if that's what you're looking for. So check them out, msudenver.edu/online.
My boys, what's up? We're all back together talking about the 2-0 Denver Broncos.
The 2-0 Denver Broncos that Vegas is saying are a legit contender in the AFC. That is at least what the numbers would suggest. Let me get the most updated numbers because we talked about this. Yes, do you have them already?
I've got it right here, Ryan. So, Mase, you haven't looked at them yet.
I'm about to.
I already talked about it before the show.
Yeah.
Oh, so he knows the other 4 teams ahead of him.
Oh, he does not know the other 4 teams.
Okay.
That's where I was going to go at. So in the AFC, Broncos we know are 5th.
Yeah.
Who's ahead of them?
Kansas City,
Okay.
Buffalo,
Okay.
Cleveland,
Okay.
and Baltimore.
Yes.
Boom. There you go. Those are the 4 Broncos right now. The 5th favorite sitting at plus 1,000 to win the AFC.
Yeah, plus 1,000. And what's most surprising to me here, Zach, is the proximity between 4 and 5 and the proximity between 5 and 6. What Vegas is telling me with these numbers, and specifically DraftKings Sportsbook in this scenario, what DraftKings is telling me is the Broncos are part of the top tier, meaning it goes Chiefs plus 250, Bills plus 450, Ravens plus 650, Browns plus 800, Broncos plus 1,000. That's a staircase.
I think it's like there's a top 3, and then there's a second tier with the Broncos and the Browns.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
And then a massive drop-off.
Either way, they're saying they're in a higher tier than all of the middle of the pack in the AFC.
Including the Raiders.
Including the Raiders.
Which is interesting because, obviously, people are betting from everywhere, but there's always that Vegas proximity. And you could argue that even though the Raiders' games were closer, that they have a pair of more impressive wins than the Broncos do at this point.
What I was going to say,
And they're
though,
2-0.
is
It's not even close with the Raiders.
the difference
by the
between
way.
1 and 2 is 200 points.
Yep.
The difference between 2 and 3 is 200 points. The difference between 3 and 4 is 150 points. The difference between 4 and 5 is 200 points. That's even.
Right.
Then what DraftKings is saying is massive drop.
Yep.
3x down to plus 1,600 where the Tennessee Titans sit. And look, I'm not saying, go bet the house on this or anything. I'm just saying this is shocking to me that DraftKings, and you're seeing similar odds across, all of the places, are saying Broncos, legit case to be an AFC contender. Titans, no.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much exactly. And we talked about the Raiders, guys.
Yeah.
Plus 2,200. So Broncos have over double the odds to win the AFC according to Las Vegas.
What is happening here? Because no one could make the argument that Vegas hasn't been more impressive than the Broncos at this point.
But what have we said about the Raiders for years now?
Right,
with Derek Carr,
hot start.
Yeah, hot start, and then also just kind of frauds. They can look good at times in the season, but are they really contenders? No one really believes it, and that's exactly staying true here.
Well, also we're talking about we're talking about playoff success in these odds, right? Because it's talking about winning the AFC, going to the Super Bowl. What travels in the playoffs? What gives you a chance to succeed anywhere you go?
Defense.
Yes. And that's what the Broncos have that appears to be better than any of these other teams that we're talking about right now. They appear to have a better defense.
Right. They've given up 2 legit touchdowns in 2 games.
The defense, even if you count that throwaway touchdown the Giants had on the last play, the defense has accounted for 10 points allowed per game so far this season. And I don't care who it's against. If you're allowing 2 NFL teams 10 points a game, you're doing something. I mean, and for both of them, if you look at their averages over the last couple of years, you're allowing about 8 points below the average. So let's say the Broncos go against Kansas City and hold them to 8 points below their average. That's what, 22, 23 points? That keeps you in the game.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And that is what the Broncos, or what Vegas must be looking at, because you have the Chargers, who probably don't have as good of a defense as the Broncos, but
Not yet.
have a better defense than the Raiders, right?
Yes.
Without a doubt. The Chargers are 1-1. They don't have the impressive wins that the Raiders have, and they're above the Raiders. They're at plus 1,800. And if you look at the other teams that are in here, they all have good defenses or like superstar quarterbacks.
Right. It's wild. But maybe the Broncos have a superstar quarterback. At least that's,
Easy.
that's the way people are feeling around here right now. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the second segment. Does Vegas and DraftKings Sportsbook, do they think that the Broncos have a superstar quarterback? I don't know. We'll see. But you're right. This is so much movement that you can't like say, oh, a bunch of people must be betting this. I don't think that's the case. I don't think, even Broncos fans, I don't think are like running to their sportsbook app to bet on the Broncos to win the AFC now that they're 2-0. So this is legitimate belief. Now, what I think this is a little bit of protection for DraftKings and the others here. What they're saying is, okay, well, they're definitely beating the Jets, right?
Yep, 3-0.
And Mase, what was the stat you just dropped about the Broncos when they're 11-point favorites?
Yeah, the 11-point favorites or more since 1978. They're 38-6. However, they did lose the last game. They were an 11-plus point favorite. That was against the Giants back in 2017.
We all remember that one.
Yes. So they know they're going to beat the Jets, or at least they're betting on the fact that they're going to beat the Jets. So then they're saying, okay, well, there might be more interest coming then. And then what's going to happen is they're going to get to play the team that is just 2 spots ahead of them here. If the Broncos beat the Ravens, then all hell is going to break loose when it comes to the Broncos hype train. And I think what they're saying now is they are building in a little bit of, okay, we know they're going to be 3-0. That's going to gain some protection. And a lot of people might be looking and saying, hey, the Broncos are going to be 3-0. Teams that go 3-0 make the playoffs, 75% of the time?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
actually, if you count that, now we're at 14 playoff teams, and so there's a 7th seed. Probably it's like close to 85% of the time that if you start 3-0, you're going to be in those top 7 teams.
Right, so they're saying, okay, a lot of people are going to start to talk about the Broncos as a playoff team, and smart bettors might be getting ahead of this and saying, hey, if I can get the Broncos at, where should they probably be here? Probably right around the Raiders at plus 2,200, right? Then when they make the playoffs, I'm going to have a big buyout. And like I said, professional bettors are looking at this stuff all the time. They're looking at, metrics like, okay, if you're 3-0, you're going to make the playoffs 75 to 85% of the time.
Right.
And so that if the Broncos, especially behind potentially the number 1 defense in the NFL, if they make the playoffs, there will be buzz around them being a very dangerous team, especially if Teddy Bridgewater continues to play at a very high rate.
And so to put this in perspective, what it looks like on the NFC side is, guys, the Broncos have the 5th best odds to win the AFC at plus 1,000. The Seahawks have the 5th best odds in the NFC to win the NFC at plus 1,000. So they're saying that the Broncos and the Seahawks in their respective conferences are the same. That's pretty big compliment when you look at the quarterback that the Seattle Seahawks have. Now, the Broncos, in some people's eyes, are kind of built the complete opposite of the Seahawks. Great defense, a lot of surrounding pieces around the quarterback, and then some people still aren't sold on the quarterback. Seahawks, their defense, not very good at all.
Collapsed
Great
on
quarterback, and they do have some weapons around Russ as well. But I mean, that's what we're talking about right now. And I think a lot of people, some people say you need a great defense, some people say you need a superstar quarterback, but the Broncos are in that conversation.
You know what? I'm looking at the NFC, and I'm seeing the Cardinals at 14-1, and they wallop the Titans. The Titans on the other side in the AFC are 16-1. The Cardinals are 14-1. That looks like kind of the sneaky number that maybe you want to get in on.
It's funny because
Arizona.
Andre Simone brought this up on bets yesterday,
Yeah.
talking about that. I like Packers plus 700. Now that they're back on track and everyone got that bad taste.
We knew that was going to happen, though, didn't we?
Did you know in the first half, though? Or in the first half, were you starting to say, uh-oh?
No. You
I
let
was
the
really
game
worried
play
about their
out.
defense in the first half.
Yeah.
I could sense that Aaron was definitely in a much better place than he was last week.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, this is really interesting stuff, and the Broncos just seeing it is like, I don't know, it's kind of mind blowing to me. But I think there's a lot of belief, and I talked about this yesterday on the show. You're seeing national sites put out power rankings with the Broncos in the top 10.
Yahoo
And-
had him at number 9.
Should
Yeah.
Yahoo, yeah.
should that be shocking? Should that be something where people are surprised about? Because, guys, there's 2 undefeated teams left in the AFC. It's the Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos. The only 2 are in the AFC West right now, and then you can make a strong argument that, the Kansas City Chiefs are the best 1-1 team, but the Broncos have a better record, so shouldn't they be in the top 10? Because you look at the NFC and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 undefeated teams. So Broncos are one of 7 undefeated teams.
Right,
Why
they have
is
a
it
one-game lead on the rest of the conference.
Why is it a surprise that they're in the top 10? Because it's also not like they've just been squeaking by in these games. They've really been beating down these teams they've played to even more impressive than the outcome would say.
It's a surprise to me because no one has respected the Broncos for about 5 years now. And
Rightfully so.
That's what I was going to say. And they were right.
Right.
So, to me, you would think there would be a lot more national pause on, anyone who's detracting from the Broncos right now has a perfect case that's just built in for them. They didn't beat anyone, and they're right. So, to me, I was much expecting that there would be no hype surrounding the Broncos until that Ravens game, depending on the result. And I think even if the Broncos came out of that Ravens game 3-1, but they went toe-to-toe with them, I thought, okay, that's when people will wake up to the Broncos. The fact that, they beat 2 crap teams and it's not just Broncos country giving them credit is shocking to me, just based on the past history of the last 5 years.
Yeah, and that's very fair. But now I guess we can, at least right now, say that the nation isn't disrespecting the Broncos, right? I mean, it's not Vegas. It's not these power rankings.
I mean, yeah. Wouldn't you agree, Mase?
I would. I mean, that being said, in the back of my mind, we're talking about starting off with a couple of big wins over lesser teams, and I had this flashback to a Tampa Bay team that opened by winning its games 23-7 and 31-3, and they were 2-0, and they went 5-11. And so I briefly had like this really bad flashback there.
So wait,
hoping that, and I'm like, I don't think this team is going to do that. But that's another reason why I'm kind of surprised at the love that they're getting, because it would be perfectly fair after the last 4 or 5 seasons to be incredibly skeptical, especially since in those previous 5 seasons, you started out 2-0 3 times.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Broncos fans,
Yeah.
I think the nation may be higher on the Broncos than some Broncos fans. Not all Broncos fans, because a lot of Broncos fans want to buy into Teddy. But there's people, Mase, you're a little more skeptical than the national people here. And I think some Broncos fans don't forget the 4-0 start in 2016. Don't forget the 3-1 start in 2017.
The one for me is McDaniels, 6-0. Because that was the one that everyone said, okay, well, if they beat the Patriots, then we really have to start paying attention. And then they did it.
Well,
and
it
it was
started with the Cowboys. Remember when the
Right.
Dallas came in, and that Dallas game was that was the 4th game, right? Kind of analogous
Yeah.
to the Ravens game. And the Cowboys were really good at that time, and that's when the ball started to really roll.
Right. And this is, that's the classic, scorned
Yeah.
lovers. And it's
Yeah.
everyone's thinking, oh, gosh, I've felt this before. that's the one that sticks out to me because it's like they did the thing that everyone said, okay, if they do that, then they're legit. And then it all fell apart insanely. So I don't know. It's just an interesting dynamic that's happening here. And I think you're right, Zach. I think there's a lot, like, I read our YouTube comments every day, which is terrible exercise.
Yeah, bad way to go.
I look at the Facebook stuff, and I'm obviously seeing all the mentions on Twitter. There are a lot of Broncos fans who are saying, Psh, they haven't beat anyone. Teddy still sucks, blah, 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 blah. And I don't think you're getting that a lot in the national media. Now, one thing that I think is in their favor is everyone loves Teddy.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Teddy.
Yeah.
And every national media person wants to talk about Teddy. Yep. And they've all met him, probably across his travels from team to team. They all love him. They all want to talk about him. They all want him to succeed. And so I think, I haven't watched in a while, but I assume if you turn on Good Morning Football, they're cheering for Teddy. And I assume when you could turn on, Sunday prime time or whatever they call those shows these days.
We don't watch those, right?
Yeah, we watch the tailgate. They're saying, Teddy Bridgewater, this is so great for him. I'm so happy for him. And I think that's helping the ball get rolling a little bit.
He makes people feel good. I mean, my mother was watching the game on Sunday, and she says, I love Teddy. Like, she just says, I love him as a person. Like, he's always smiling. She pointed out the thing that I noted on Twitter that when Bradley Chubb got hurt, he's the one that's putting his hand on his shoulder and, consoling him as he goes to the sideline. My mom also says of Teddy, he's a cutie. If you can imagine a 70-something English woman talking about Teddy Bridgewater, so, he's a cutie. I just want to give him a hug, But
he's very huggable.
On a visceral level,
I also want to give him a hug.
The opposite of a punch in the face.
Right.
Yes.
On a visceral level, whether it's media or fans viewing it from outside of Denver, I think he just makes people feel good. And then when you factor in what he overcame over the last 5 years, it's just, it's an incredible comeback story if he succeeds.
Yeah.
And it hits people right here.
1 month ago, guys, we still didn't know who the Broncos starting quarterback was. How crazy is that? Then now Teddy isn't just like, oh, okay, I guess he's good enough for this Broncos team. He is the conversation. He is what people want to talk about. He is what's giving this fan base hope for Ryan potentially cashing out on on plus 1,000 odds to win the AFC right now.
Yeah, and I might want to talk about cashing out on some even larger odds. But first, I want to remind you guys that this weekend is the first official DNVR tailgate, and this thing is going to pop.
Yep.
There's so much fan excitement right now. So many people I know are going to the game. It's really the first time I can remember in a while where the Broncos game is a hot ticket. It's like the talk of the town. Usually the talk is, I might go. I don't know. I'll check the apps before the game and see if I can get some cheap tickets.
I want to watch Red Zone because I want to see scoring.
Yeah,
and going to the Broncos game, you don't get that.
There's a lot of that over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Completely gone. Everyone I know is talking about, man, I think I might want to try and score some tickets to the Broncos game this week. Or if they have tickets, they're absolutely going. And so if you're going, you got to come by the DNVR tailgate. It is going to be basically, if you know the west entrance of the stadium, right?
And so we're talking about tailgate at the game.
Oh, yes, at the game. Yep. Yeah, don't get confused between the digital tailgate and the physical tailgate. I know it can be confusing. I get confused. So the west entrance of the stadium, right, is, you're facing the city. Directly west of the west entrance is Federal. Right off of 18th and Federal is Sports Fan, which is a really cool store. They've got all sorts of awesome gear in there. Probably you might want to just buy some gear on your way into the tailgate. And in their back parking lot is where we're going to have the DNVR tailgate. It is going to be catered by Sexy Pizza, all you can eat Sexy Pizza. Woo. It's going to, of course, have coolers and coolers full of Breckenridge brews.
Yep.
And it is going to be an absolute party. So make sure you come to that. But if you're thinking, man, I don't know how I'm going to get to the stadium. Uber charges are so intense during the games.
I want to have a lot of those Breck brews.
Right. I don't want to worry about driving. Come to the DNVR bar before, and for just 10 extra bucks, we will take you from the bar to the game. And the best part to me, after the game, you get back on the bus, they'll bring it back to the bar, because if you've gone to any of these games, leaving the game is way more of a nightmare than getting there.
Yep.
Especially if you don't have a car.
And I guarantee you won't find parking for $10 or cheaper.
No, you won't find an Uber. You won't find parking.
I mean,
Probably for 3x that.
all you can eat pizza, that's probably worth your $30 or your $20 if you go down there.
Right.
All you can drink beer, it's worth your $30. And then just parking down there is definitely worth your 30. You get 3 for 1.
3 for 1. It's going to be an absolute blast. So check it out. You can actually buy your tickets on DNVRlocker.com. Like I said, $20 to go to the tailgate if you don't need the ride. $30 for the ride. Getting the ride for $10 in there is an insane deal. And honestly, all of it together is a great deal. So check it out.
And also go to the DNVR Locker. Get the Teddy t-shirt that we just dropped. It's a hot commodity, so you don't want to miss out. Oh, there it is, doing a little Teddy strut right there. I love it. And guys, something else I love is we've been talking about it all morning. DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to get odds. I think they're giving a little extra love to the Broncos, too, than other places out there. So make sure to go to DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code DNVR to get this insane deal, guys. If you bet on any football game this weekend, you'll receive $150 in free bets instantly. That's all you have to do. Bet on any football game this weekend, and you get $150 in free bets. And guys, those free bets you can do right away. Win money, and then your account just explodes from the second you get in. Maybe you want to put one of those free bets on a little plus 1,000 for the Broncos, or maybe a little Teddy Bridgewater MVP talk, which we'll get into in just a second. So head to the App Store now, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and use promo code DNVR to get $150 in free bets when you place a $1 bet this weekend over at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
You said, RK, we're going to have Breck Brews at the tailgate.
Mm-hmm.
Coolers upon coolers upon coolers.
Yes, upon coolers.
Not going to run out.
You know, I don't want to make this a challenge.
It's
I
going
want
to
people
be,
to make it
yeah.
into the game, but it's going to be
Okay.
close.
Well, here's the thing. You can get the Breck Brews there. If you are on the tailgate bus to the stadium and back, you can come back to the DNVR bar and get some more
Yes, you
Breckenridge
can.
Brews. And, of course, or if you're outside of Denver and you can't be at the tailgate, you're just going to watch on television, but you want to feel like you're here, then go and get some of those Breckenridge brews. You can find out where to get some of those delicious Breckenridge beers by checking out the Breck Beer Locator on their website. The odds are that you are probably not too far from some place that has those delicious Breckenridge brews. I saw them for sale in the Tampa area this weekend as well, this past weekend. You can find them pretty much anywhere. Maybe not anywhere, but not too far from where you are. So check that out, and you can feel like you're in Denver. You can feel like you're right here cheering on the Broncos and get that taste of Colorado wherever you go. And, of course, if you're here in Denver, check out the Farmhouse, their restaurant down in Littleton. You can use the code DNVR and get $5 off your order. Great deal. So call 303-803-1380 from noon to 8 p.m. for pickup. Use that code DNVR, get $5 off. If you want to eat in, no problem. You can do it right there. It's socially distanced, all set up. You can have a great meal, great time over at the Farmhouse. If you can't get to the DNVR bar, the Farmhouse is the next best thing.
There you go. All right, we've got some super chats rolling in here. Kale, what do we got? All right. First one here from Greg S. Hey, y'all. A little off topic, but with Jewel out, what do you think of Sternad and Browning? What do you guys think of Justin Sternad on Sunday? By the way, it is Sternad, not Sternad. I've been saying it wrong. This is going to be a tough transition for me, but I got it right this
I
first
think
time.
Wake Forest had it as Sternad on its pronunciation guide.
And the Broncos have it as Sternad.
Yes.
So I'm going to trust the Broncos. I assume they spoke to Justin about this.
Sternad, saying it that way lends itself to some colorful nicknames.
It does.
Perhaps.
So there we go.
Big Sternad.
Yes. What do you think of Sternad? I thought he was pretty darn good coming in last week, and seeing his first NFL action, he didn't have a week to prepare for it. You know, just injury, go, we need you. And I thought he filled in pretty well. Obviously, Josie was playing out of his mind, so it was a little bit of a slight downgrade. But I think that his ceiling is really high. I think that having him out on the field and his speed is going to be very valuable, and I'm excited to see him.
And also with Baron Browning, he's still pretty far behind. I really expect him to take a big backseat this year, even with Josie out. So it's going to be Justin getting those reps. And then when you see Ronald Darby come back, it's going to be more of they will play a lot more dime.
Well, here's the question I have for you guys. Now, we saw on Sunday when Strnad came in for Josie Jewell, and then they went to the dime sub package after that. It was Alexander Johnson who was the linebacker that stayed out there. But we know Strnad's better in coverage. So if you are Vic Fangio, do you think about having Strnad be the every down linebacker who just doesn't come off the field because his coverage abilities help that dime package?
As soon as he trusts him.
Right.
As soon as he trusts him.
And also, when Josie left, he was a play caller for defense. Alexander Johnson took over those play calling duties. Vic said he's comfortable in Strnad doing it, but still isn't sure who's going to do that. Whenever you see the green dot on Strnad, then it means he's that guy.
Yeah, exactly. So, something to keep an eye out for, just because I think it's going to take a couple weeks of trust. All right. Next super chat.
Another super chat coming in right now.
From Donald. I took my 12-year-old stepson to the Jags game. He got 15 Broncos autographs, 2.5 sets of game gloves. This team is special on and off the field.
How about that?
Yeah, that's pretty special.
Yeah.
And again, this kind of goes into something of the Teddy conversation. I really love the way he's leading this team. You saw the video that came out from the Broncos of him kind of breaking it down. I've seen it, this is silly, and I wanted to tweet it, but I was like, you're not going to be able to get the nuance that you need. All the way down to the little detail of how he broke the huddle. When he said, say it like you mean it. And what was it? Together on 3. Say it like you mean it. Together on 3. And then they said it like they meant it. And so many times I've seen breakdowns like that be so half-assed and so half-hearted that I was like, oh, they're really listening to him. They're really bought in. And again, it's such a little thing. But, as Vic Fangio would say, those little things add up. They can add up the wrong way. They can also add up the right way.
Emotional intelligence. It's like he knows exactly what the people around him need most. When, it's the offense is struggling in the second quarter. All right, well, this is the time to get everyone bouncing again. As we start our possession here, let's try to get the energy going because it's a little bit flat. He sees Chubb hurt. He's out there to console him. It's when Garrett Bowles is getting into the dust-ups with Bradley Chubb, he's the one who's calming him down. It's like he seems to know exactly what the moment requires emotionally all the time.
He's a leader. He's just he has some natural leadership skills. And actually, it was even better than say it like you mean it. It was mean it when you say it, which is actually even more meaningful because say it like you mean it means you can just pretend to mean it. Mean it when you say it means you got to actually mean it. And again, it's a little tiny thing. But those things matter over the course, of a season. They build up, they add up, and it's exactly what Von Miller was talking about when he said, hey, I love those little pep talks. We need those.
How about this? When Vic Fangio took over the team, they were a losing team. So the mindset was death by inches. We have to avoid death by inches. How about now when they're winning? It's success by inches, and it's building on those things. Instead of trying to avoid death like the Broncos were when Vic got here, now they're trying to actually have success. I mean, kind of a shocking thing, but that's what we're talking about.
Growth by inches.
Yeah. That could be interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
are we talking about Bradley Chubb or what?
Yeah. Okay.
Or Strnad.
Last one from Simon. What trade or free agent signing would make sense for the Broncos given the recent injuries and ample cap space?
Good luck.
They might need to add in the linebacker group, but I don't know what.
Remember last time they added in the linebacker room?
Yes.
Close to the beginning
Mark
of the season.
Barron.
Yeah, former first-round pick. You know what he did?
No snaps.
One practice.
Half a practice, I think, maybe even. Yeah. And so Simon, I think it's a very good question, fair question, but in the NFL, you don't really find these saviors that are just available right now or that teams are willing to give up for nothing. You just don't find it.
Unless you're trading for somebody. I know somebody on my Twitter feed suggested C.J. Mosley, but the problem is that even though you do have cap space to make a move, you don't want to go into that cap space because you get to carry it over to next year, and unless the circumstances change to where Drew Lock reemerges and is the quarterback in 2022, you are looking at a scenario where either you're drafting somebody or whether it's someone on your roster or someone you bring elsewhere is going to get paid, and you need that cap space. So I don't think that would be a prudent use of the resources here. You drafted Justin Strnad for a reason. Let him go out there and show why.
I mean, if you're really looking to bring someone in, Todd Davis, he's in Denver right now. He's hanging around now.
Literally in the Broncos.
He did retire, and that's what I'm saying.
No.
Those are the type of guys that you're finding in free
Literally
agency.
at the Broncos facility on Sunday because he's doing the post-game show on the Broncos social media channels.
Really?
Phil Milani and Todd Davis do a game breakdown. He's doing it for the rest of the season. But I mean, he's in town, but he's pursuing other things. Like he's gotten his real estate license.
No, but that's my point.
Right,
Is that
yeah.
these are the guys you're talking about.
Right, exactly. But he's moving on with his life's work. But
No Sean Marino, also available if you want to pluck anyone from the real estate ranks.
yeah,
Okay. I want to go back to DraftKings Sportsbook here just because, again, it's an interesting way to frame this conversation. I guess if the Broncos are going to win the AFC, I believe Teddy Bridgewater is going to have to play at an MVP caliber level. And so as soon as I saw those odds, I thought to myself, man, what are the odds for Teddy MVP? And I was actually a little bit surprised at how low they are. Now, again, this is crazy talk to be having after, like you just mentioned, Zach, 3 weeks ago, he wasn't even the starting quarterback. Now he's at least in the conversation. So have you already looked at the people or the number he stands at?
I have.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12th. He is 12th in the rankings for MVP right now at plus 3,500. Now, again, do I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to have a better season than Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford, Josh Allen? The list goes on. Not necessarily, but in the same way I mentioned how bettors might bet something to just ride it and then potentially get out at the right time, I think there might actually be some value here. Because, again, if all goes to plan, Teddy should kill it this week again.
Yep.
So there's let's just live in a world where he actually has his best game at home. So it's 350 yards and 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Now he has to be taken seriously in this conversation as he sits there with 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, again on pace for over 5,000 yards. I just think this is a more interesting bet from a value perspective.
Two things I love about this. When we talked about value with the Broncos, you were saying how the big drop-off happened after the Broncos in terms of winning the AFC West. There's a big drop-off right before Teddy Bridgewater, which means the value is better. Mm-hmm. There's a big drop-off. Derek Carr is 11th. Derek Carr's tied with Justin Herbert. Interesting, 2 AFC West quarterbacks there at 2,500. Then it's
so Teddy's dead last among AFC West starting quarterbacks in MVP odds.
And they're all in the top 12. Shows you just how good of a division they are right now. And then so 2,500 for Derek Carr and Herbert. Then 1,000 later, you get Teddy Bridgewater at 3,500. So in terms of value, I love that. And then something else I love, guys. So Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, the only people they're right above Teddy at 2,500. The next guy, Aaron Rodgers. Teddy Bridgewater is only 3 spots out of Aaron Rodgers in the MVP conversation. And at least for right now, Broncos didn't have to trade anything in order to get the same quarterback play. Actually, right now, better quarterback play than Aaron Rodgers, although Aaron Rodgers did have a nice bounce back. But to me, that's shocking. That's shocking that not just people are so high on Teddy here, but that the nation is so high on him.
Yeah, and that is that narrative that I mentioned before, how everyone in the national media wants Teddy to do well, is actually my favorite part about this bet. Because the narrative, if he keeps playing well, people are going to start backing him up in this. And they're going to say, this guy came in and took a team with 5 straight losing seasons, and he's got them 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 potentially. Again, this is living in the top level world that can happen. But if he continues this, and quality of opponent has to be considered. I'm not trying to throw that away. I'm just saying if he can build on this, because the Broncos are lucky that he got a second preseason here, is what I'm calling these first 3 games. If he can build on that, the national narrative will back him. They will be behind him in this.
People love a Cinderella story. And if Bridgewater and the Broncos do well, it's a Cinderella story that evokes a little bit of Kurt Warner and the Rams when they came out of nowhere 22 years ago. And they built that momentum pretty quickly. And all of a sudden, Kurt Warner went from, an anonymous guy who was once a grocery bagger from the Arena League to being a legit MVP candidate. Now, I'm probably overstating things for Teddy to make the Kurt Warner comparison, but that's just how these things get perceived in terms of, and again, this is something that's, even though there's a lot of good data to show that Teddy Bridgewater is doing good things, this is an emotional thing. This is tugging at the heartstrings.
Yeah,
it's getting the heart more than the mind.
And let's say at the end of the season, he has, the 5th best stats of any quarterback, but it's by far the best story. I think you might have a case there. And I think the voters might want to. How does the MVP voting work in the NFL? It's media?
50. It's 50 media members.
50 media members. That's how it works.
Yes.
Those people, don't you think they'd rather give it to Teddy than Patrick Mahomes again or Lamar Jackson again?
That's something that Teddy has on his side. Tom Brady's won these. Patrick Mahomes has won these. Just looking guys above him. Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson. Now, you do have a decent amount of guys that are above him that haven't won. But that is something that we see. Bill Belichick, for a long time, probably should have been Coach of the Year every single year. And they got burnt. What does he have? 2 Coach of the Years? 3 Coach of the Years? Something like that?
0.
He has 0? That would be crazy.
No,
he
has won it. I know he has.
But so yeah, that does play into it. But I mean,
again, I'm not saying this is a likelihood. I'm saying there is a world in which I can see it happening.
You were saying that you still like the Packers at their plus 700. I see Patrick Mahomes as the MVP at plus 550, and I'm thinking, I thought it would be like plus 250 right there.
Interesting.
Let's quickly talk about other value from Broncos players, guys. Guess who, at least in my quick assessment here, guess who's second in Broncos MVP odds?
Courtland Sutton.
Did you look?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, come on.
I didn't look.
No, I had this open because I went all the way down and saw.
Hey, no, stop there. You're going to give it away. So Courtland Sutton plus 1,500.
Yeah.
Or plus 15,000.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So Mase already knows this. Who would be next?
Von Miller.
No, there's no Von on the list. Shocks me.
It's got to be an offensive player
Yep,
then?
it does have to be an offensive
Melvin
player.
Gordon?
Ding, 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 ding. Yep, Melvin Gordon. He's got a 100-yard game with a touchdown as well. And from what I saw, maybe May saw something else, there's one more person on here who is tied for the biggest odds that DraftKings Sportsbook is offering.
Along with Melvin Gordon.
Melvin also has that number?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a bunch of guys league-wide with this number.
Is it Javante?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, right side of the ball.
Noah Fant?
Nope. Get creative. Get creative here.
Tim Patrick?
What? Okay, this. Do you want me to give it away?
Sure.
With the hint, this position wins MVP.
Oh, Drew Lock?
Yes,
Oh
Drew
my
Lock.
God.
You can bet on Drew Lock to be the MVP of the NFL.
But not Von Miller.
Not Von Miller.
What's interesting is
Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah, it's
Drew
really
Lock
bizarre.
is backing up, and Zach Wilson is starting.
They have the same odds.
They have the same odds.
Pretty hard to come back from, 0 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, or whatever he's at right now?
Drew Lock should have better odds than Zach Wilson, even though he's on the bench.
Right.
I mean, it's so much easier to come back from 0-0 than it is 0-7.
Does he have 0 touchdowns so far?
He didn't have any this past.
I know.
I thought he had one against the Panthers in week 1.
So
So
1
1
and
to
7.
Yeah.
That's impossible.
No. Yeah. Well, he could if he. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to happen.
It's impossible. Peyton's got to be keeping a close eye here. He's got a chance to beat Peyton's record.
Yes, he does. He certainly does.
So is Trevor Lawrence.
Yep. Now Trevor's at 5 through 2, and
Trevor's at 4
Yeah.
touchdowns, 5 picks through 2. And honestly, remember Peyton had 26 and 28 as a rookie. The vibes I'm getting on Trevor Lawrence is that his touchdown-interception ratio is going to look a lot like Peyton's. He's going to have a bunch of TDs and a bunch of picks. I don't know if Zach Wilson's going to have a bunch of touchdowns like Trevor Lawrence will. Because the thing that helps Lawrence is, and you saw it on Sunday, he's making some high-level throws and he's got some good targets.
we were off. I thought he had 3 touchdowns in the first, or 3 interceptions in the first game. He just had 1.
Okay, so he's at 5 picks.
So 2 to 5 is what he's at right now. 2 to 5. So they're both at 5. Do we remember what Peyton's number was? 20 something?
28.
28 picks, 26 touchdowns, I believe. as a rookie.
I mean, he's on pace for it.
Yeah, they're both on pace
Yep.
for it.
Yeah.
The Broncos could do Peyton a favor this week and get 3 more.
Yep, they certainly could. I mean, they helped with Trevor. Got 2 on him.
He currently has what is his QBR? Oh, they don't have it on here. ESPN of all places doesn't have it in his main.
No, they don't. You have to go to an actual QBR on ESPN's.
You
Isn't
search-
that so bizarre?
You just
Really
you
bizarre.
Google ESPN QBR and
Right,
you
you would
can
just
find.
think they would put it
and-
on their stat line.
Yeah, 31st and 32nd are Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. 25.0 for T-Law and 22.7 for Wilson.
This is such a this happens every year, where the rookie quarterbacks suck. But no one's ever. I feel like no one's ever fully prepared for it, and then they start to panic.
How about Mac Jones, baby?
What's he at?
He's at 18.
18 QBR.
Yeah.
Yep.
53
No,
points.
18
Ranked
best
18.
in the NFL. So about average.
Hey, environment and players that surround you matters.
How about this? Daniel Jones, top 10.
Interesting.
9.
He was good last Thursday.
Yeah, he
Good,
was.
good against a very good defense, and got
and
let
rushing
down.
yards count in
Right,
QBR.
it does.
Right.
And he got let down with the drop
Right.
in the fourth quarter that basically cost them the game. I came out of that Washington game, and even the Broncos-Giants game. Yeah, it was a resounding Bronco win, but you can look at like 2 plays and say if those are different, then that thing goes down to the wire. I think the Giants are better than their record shows. I think they're a lot better than the Jaguars, but I think the Giants are going to win some games and get some momentum here, even though everything seems chaotic right now.
Sam Darnold, the 6th best QBR in the NFL.
Wow.
What does that say for Adam Gase?
No, well,
Ryan Tannehill leaves Adam Gase and becomes a star. Sam Darnold, if he ends up becoming a star in Carolina,
Is Adam Gase in the league right now?
no.
Just keep him out. Keep him away from young quarterbacks. There's not enough good ones already. We can't afford to lose anymore.
There was a parody story this summer that said that he'd taken a job assisting at some high school in Michigan or something like that.
I still wouldn't
gosh.
support it.
Here will be the Adam Gase arc. He's of course connected with Nick Saban. They go back to when Saban was coaching Michigan State and Gase was working on the staff. He will be the next Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian guy who goes down to Tuscaloosa to kind of rebuild his career working on Alabama offense. I would bet a lot of money that happens in the next 12 to 24 months.
just retire. Just go find a nice beach house somewhere.
You have so much stolen money. Just run and hide.
Yeah.
Just
What has Mike
run and
McCoy
hide.
done since he got fired by the Cardinals?
What's that?
He's probably lived
played a
in
bunch
San
of golf.
Diego. Yeah.
Yeah, have we heard? He hasn't.
No.
I don't think he's coached since.
He has not.
All right, to put a bow on this segment, punching it in right now. Teddy Bridgewater to win MVP.
Ha!
Boom.
It's in.
Let's go.
The bet is in. All right. Where are we going next here, Zach?
Oh, it was over at DraftKings Sportsbook.
It was where it
Of
was.
course it was, but guys, I got to tell you about our friends over at Manscaped. I mean, we only have a couple of weeks left of you actually mowing the lawn, but it is not too late to get a Manscaped because you guys are going to need the Lawnmower 4.0 for the entire summer. While the grass may get a little long, you guys don't want the grass below the belt getting long at all. And so while autumn is in the air, now is the time to get your Lawnmower 4.0. And also, you got to pick up the Perfect Package 4.0 from our friends over at Manscaped, which comes with the Crop Preserver, which is a ball deodorant, the Crop Reviver, which is a toner, the Performance Boxer Briefs, which comes with a new travel bag to hold all of your goodies when you're taking care of your own personal goodies. And guys, the Lawnmower 4.0 has advanced skin-safe technology, so never are there any, you're never hitting a rock, maybe cutting yourself open. You
Jeez,
always
Zach.
can see, I'm just trying to bring it back to lawnmowers. You can always see what's going on down there with their light, which turns on and off. And guys, wireless charging, which helps so much with battery life. This thing never runs out of juice.
There you go. Also, I want to give a shout out to our friends at Solace Meds who have smoking hot deals this month. Best part about Solace Meds is you can combine deals. So many places say like, oh, you can't use that coupon because it's a sale. That's not the way they do it at Solace Meds. So this month, they've got great deals such as 25% off Can America gummies, 20% off strains, tinctures, 25% off rocking cartridges, and 20% off Glacier concentrates. Then you take that deal and you say, hey, I'm homies with DNVR. I'm using the code DNVR20. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll give you an additional 20% off on top of that. And then you'll be like, isn't there another deal as well? They'll be like, oh, yeah, here you go. You also get a free Solace Bar or King Cone. You just keep stacking deals on deals on deals on deals and get hooked up at Solace Med. So check them out. There's 4 convenient Colorado locations, including 1 in Fort Collins, 1 in Wheat Ridge, 1 off of Broadway, and 1 just blocks away from the DNVR bar on East Colfax.
Some people make stacking all of those deals together dope, especially over at Solace Meds. And
The old meaning of
Yes.
dope.
All
See,
right.
I can't get behind dope as
Here
a
a li-
positive term, as a compliment, because to me, dope is either weed or it's you're a dope, you're a moron. Like the Raider fan who was moaning about me talking about Teddy Bridgewater last night on Twitter. That
What?
guy's a dope.
Why do you give those people the time of day, Mace?
Oh,
Because
you
sometimes I just need to vent my frustrations, and sometimes that's why. But you know what won't frustrate you?
What's that?
Dope.
If you get a job working at Ball. Like, Zach, your aunt works at Ball.
Yep. Shout out Aunt Julie.
Yes. What does Aunt Julie think of the workplace?
Loves
over at
it.
Ball?
Fantastic. Great place to work.
Yeah. Diversity, inclusion, all those top shelf.
Bingo.
Over at Ball. Other companies talk about these things. Ball makes it a mantra. Their culture of belonging has been noticed by the Human Rights Campaign, and Ball has a corporate equality index score of 100%. So objectively, your background, whatever that may be, will not prevent you from succeeding there. It's about hard work and commitment, and you can be your authentic self over at Ball. And of course, Ball is looking for people who have technical and mechanical skills to help them manufacture aluminum cans and bottles like the one inside my koozie right here. Ball has been unstoppable, is unstoppable, and they want a diverse...
Unstoppable.
There you go. And unstoppable workforce. So their innovation curve is infinite, just like aluminum. In order to meet global demand for a truly circular packaging system in aluminum, they believe in providing open opportunities for all people, and championing innovation is tied to the future. And so you can get in on that. If you're looking for a change in career, looking for something different, text GOLDEN to 77222, and you'll be linked to open positions over at Ball at their plant in Golden. You can also go directly to jobs.ball.com and search for Golden. That's jobs.ball.com, search for Golden, or simply text Golden to 77222 and be unstoppable at Ball.
And if you want your balls to be unstoppable, make sure to use the code DNVR over at Manscaped. Forgot to drop that. DNVR 20% off plus free shipping.
Unstoppable.
Yep.
All right, let's get to one more super chat here before we jump into the comments from our
biggest fan,
devoted
Ryan.
members. My biggest fan chiming in says, my boys, it's my birthday this weekend, and my wife
Hey.
surprised me with tickets to the game. I finally get to stop by the bar for a Breck Brew. You got to come do the full experience.
Yep.
Come to the
Tailgate.
bar before the game. 10 a.m. is when you got to get here. You'll see us do the tailgate live, the digital tailgate live. Then you'll hop on the bus. You'll do Broncos chants and everything. We'll be blasting music in there. It'll be a party. You can actually take to-go drinks from the bar onto the bus. Then get down to the DNVR tailgate and have an absolute blast before you go in and watch the Broncos beat the brakes off of the Jets. It's going to be an amazing weekend for you. So get in on that, because it's an insane deal, and it's also going to be the best way to experience a Broncos game.
Oh, and the best way to experience a birthday. So happy birthday, my biggest fan, and we will see you this weekend.
We need to get some like English soccer style chants going for the Broncos.
Something like
Players.
They tried doing the song, and that
it's
didn't
not a
work
fight. They don't need a fight song.
No,
but
it's got to come from the stands. It's got to come from the fans. It's got to have that organic feel to it.
right.
You know.
Yeah, something like your mom's your dad.
Yeah.
for the Broncos.
I mean, I can I curse on this podcast?
Go
On the
right.
show? All right.
Well,
No.
Sometimes it's kind of a family show.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll just clean it up. And I mentioned this on Twitter, but the way the game was being officiated on Sunday, and the fact that it was in Jacksonville, not exactly the garden spot of Florida, I wish that Broncos fans of that game would have yelled, "Bleep town, bleep refs," as they do in England.
Yes. I wish
Poop
that too.
town poop refs. Poop town poop refs. It doesn't sound as
It's
good
great.
with poop as it would with the other word.
There's a lot of potty talk here.
Yes.
All right, let's jump into the questions. First one comes in from Illinois Bronco. What's up, guys? Super excited to say that I'll be attending my first Broncos game in Denver against the Ravens. A couple of questions. Will you guys be doing a party bus and a tailgate for that game? Yes,
Bada
party
bing,
bus
bada boom.
and tailgate for every home game from now until the end of the season.
Oh my goodness.
He says, if yes, can non-members and friends join me on the bus if we get tickets? Another great question. Another one where the answer is yes. Anyone can hop on. Hopefully you can sell them on the good word of becoming a member.
Yeah, why don't you just buy your wife a membership and you get that free Teddy shirt? You can even keep it for yourself.
Great point. If you
know,
like
gift
that
for
Teddy
someone,
shirt,
gift for you.
right? If you like that Teddy shirt, you might as well become a member and get that as your free shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Now's a perfect time.
Finally, he says, words cannot explain how excited I am for this trip. See you fellas in a couple weeks.
Look forward to it, Illinois Bronco. Next one coming in from Chicago, Bronco 86. I'm loving the start to Teddy's season. And while I'm not ready to crown him the future, it's been a very encouraging start. With Drew, there was a hope of a Josh Allen season. And I was thinking best case scenario with Teddy, maybe a Ryan Tannehill trajectory. Tannehill's breakout year was on pace for 37 touchdowns, 10 picks, and 70% completion, and 4,600 yards for a 17-game season. I was curious whether you guys thought this is a realistic possibility for Teddy, and if so, you'd be willing to give him a Tannehill contract, 4 years, $120 million. Also, do you think Teddy would take that deal?
He'd take the deal, A.
Yes.
I think the touchdown total is probably going to be on the high end.
37 is
That's
more than
two-
double his
that's-
best season
It's
ever.
more than two
Only
a game.
2 a game, though.
I know.
It's more than two, though.
Teddy
Like,
two tuds.
I mean, just
Yeah.
a little bit more.
So, I mean, I think I'd like to see Teddy settle at, say, 32 touchdowns, 8 picks. A little under 4-1.
So that
He was 4-1. He was better than 4-1 in touchdown interception ratio
Orleans.
in New Orleans when he was 9-2.
But that is pretty much this
Yeah.
exact situation with Tannehill at 37
Yeah.
to 10. And right now, Teddy's on pace for over 5,000 yards, so he could land at 4,600. That is something that you sign him up for.
What
If
is
you get a quarterback that does 32 and 8, unless you think that there was some huge fluke to it, which I don't know what that would be, you got to sign him up.
Teddy's making 2 touchdowns a game look so easy right now? Like, it feels like he could have had 4 in both
Yeah.
of the last 2 games. How has he only ever averaged half a touchdown a game?
Craziness.
Yeah, it's really weird. He looks so much better than that. And again, it goes back to me saying yesterday how wrong I and many other people were in saying, well, we know what Teddy is.
Right.
We didn't. He's better. He's better than we thought he was.
Only 28 too.
Maybe this is just the perfect scheme and environment for him. I mean, look, Pat Shurmur takes a lot of shots, but he got a season out of Case Keenum that no one saw coming and that he's never been able to come close to since. So maybe you've just got kind of like that was a perfect scenario for Keenum. Maybe this scheme, this supporting cast is a perfect scenario for Teddy.
So what we're saying is Pat Shurmur, just the perfect offensive coordinator. I think that's what I just heard from that.
Listen, for as
Easy.
hard as I was on him last year, he's been really good so far.
He's pushing all the right buttons and he's keeping his 3 wide instincts in check because we saw all those 3 tight end packages on Sunday, and the willingness to pass from out of the 3 tight end packages I think is going to make that even more dangerous.
Yep.
I love it. They've successfully passed out of 3 tight end packages in each of the last 2 games.
He's doing like the simple things that I love. Even when they went 3 wide, that touchdown to Tim Patrick, they might have been 4 wide in that. But
There's great play design.
right, exact. Take the defense away and then come back the other way. It's like
That's a classic West Coast play, by the way, that's been used in various forms going back to the 80s. I remember seeing Sam Weich call that play with a tight end coming across and the flow going in the
clear
direction.
out.
And cleared out everybody. And he's wide open.
Yep.
It's amazing that basic play has been around for so long, and it still works amazingly well.
Well, and you saw last night the Packers did something that I love too. They had 3 trips left. They brought them all across, posts, over outs, and then they bring the running back out, and there's no one over there.
Yep.
I know.
Yep. On a completely opposite note from the last comment, guys, we have one coming in from Welsh Bronco 170. He says, Ryan, Zach, you guys rock, but geez Louise, let's pump the brakes. It's wonderful to have a winning record, but we've played 2 trash sides.
You know he's Welsh when he calls a team a side.
Yeah.
23 points against the Jags sucks. Zach, you even contradicted yourself by saying how bad the Jags defense is and then blowing Teddy up to extreme hype. Teddy has been good, but let's see where we are after Game 7. Teddy has shown for sure why the coaches picked him, and he does provide a wonderful sense of calm efficiency. But my gosh, let's not start talking new deals. We will still not win the Super Bowl with Teddy. Much love, WB 170. Well, Welsh Bronco, you must have stopped listening right after a point. Ryan and I said we were as high on Teddy as you can be without giving him a new contract.
Yep.
We're not talking about extending him right now. And
Make that clear, by the way, because just as people kept
we made it very clear yesterday.
Because there are people who still keep the receipts on those who said Trevor Siemian should get a new contract back in 2017, and they're going to keep the receipts on this one
we made
too.
it very clear yesterday.
Yes.
We did. Exactly. We're as high as you can be on Teddy without saying give him a new deal. Giving him a new deal right now, 1, makes no sense.
No.
2, he hasn't earned it yet. So you got to be patient. But again, if you can't wait until you win a Super Bowl to give someone a new deal, or you end up with a Von Miller contract.
Flacco.
Or Joe.
But at the same time, you can react too soon. I remember 10 years ago, Buffalo gave Ryan Fitzpatrick an extension down the stretch of their season, and that proved to be a mistake in terms of what they invested. So, I mean, I think there's probably more wisdom in waiting until the end of the season. I mean, I could see a scenario where the Broncos are 7-3, 8-2 at the bye, and Bridgewater's playing well, and people would really be talking about it. But even then, I'd say, let's just hold on a little bit here.
Yeah. Again, there's no rush.
I'm
But
consistently cautious.
It is possible to wait too long.
Yep.
It's definitely possible to not wait long enough.
Yep. Exactly.
That's the job of a
But
general
remember,
manager.
you have the franchise tag. If you're not
Interesting.
sold, if he has a big year, you do have that tag to pay him $28 million for a year and say, all right,
It's going to
Is
be a
that
good,
all it
do
would
it
be?
again.
28 for next
that's
year?
what it's projected to be for quarterbacks next year. Yes, $28 million.
That's a great deal for the league MVP.
It certainly would be. It certainly would be. Maybe you'll be able to pay for that contract too.
Oh.
I might be able
All right.
to.
Dan Burke, hey guys, so the Broncos are favored by 11 points against the Jets this week. They should handle business easily. But I'm reminded back to 2017 when the then 3-1 Broncos were facing an 0-5 Giants team who were 12.5-point dogs coming into that week. We know what happened during the game, but I don't have a clear recollection of the lead up to the game and the fallout afterwards. Can y'all refresh my memory on how confident everyone was and what the meltdowns were like after?
Oh, my
Dan,
God.
why do we have to do this?
Honestly, it's kind of fun. I remember I was listening to the radio, and they had a guest. I think it was honestly the radio voice of the Giants. And he came on and said,
Bob Papa.
this is going to be an absolute bloodbath.
Yeah.
The Broncos are going to wipe the field with the Giants. They have no wide receivers. The quarterback's playing bad. They are terrible. They're an awful team. It doesn't matter what the spread is. Just bet it the Broncos by 1 million. And I remember being like, wow, if that's the thought over there,
Right.
then this thing's over. You know, that was the thing that took me over the edge. And the meltdown afterwards was of epic proportions. Because remember, this is a point in time when Broncos fans are still hardly removed from top tier success. You know, now they've seen enough to where people are they know how to protect themselves from this sort of thing. They didn't at that point, and the meltdown was severe.
And the team meltdown was severe as well because literally 7 days later, they were shut out for the first time in 25 years.
Patriots?
Chargers.
Right, on the road.
21-0.
Yeah, that
I mean,
one
it
was...
got out of control. Really, after that, it got out of control in a way that we haven't seen before or since around here.
That's kind of crazy to think that even in that Chargers game, they were still 3-1.
Yep.
Or 3-2.
And then they lose that. They're 3-3.
Right.
They go to Kansas City. That's the Jamal Charles fumble game.
Oh boy.
And then they go to Philadelphia
At
and
least
they give
Jamal
up a
got
50
to play
burger.
that game.
Yes, he did, and he got the ball
Yeah.
ripped out of his hands by
Yeah.
tiny little Marcus Peters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brutal. Maybe we can look for some happier days here from Broncology. It says, if we can split the games between the Ravens and Steelers and take care of business against the Jets, we could be sitting at 4-1 with a lot on the line for our first division matchup against the Raiders. I'm a Lock fan, but obviously pleased with Teddy's performance to date. This team and this fan base just needs to win games. What is this?
I have no idea, but just go.
I don't know. The future for now, and let's just enjoy the moment.
Oh,
I think.
like screw the future is what he said.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Okay.
because I'm looking. I
think-
see slash division symbol.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is like my daughter's math lesson.
Yeah.
I thought the same.
He goes on and says, I think 10 wins is optimistic ceiling for this team if we can stay healthy. The Steelers look very beatable. The Raiders look good in September, and everyone says they could be for real, and they crumble down the stretch. Let's hope Week 6 against Denver is the start of their annual collapse. Thanks for the coverage. Go Broncos. I think it was optimistic, except for the part of a
Ceiling.
10-game win ceiling.
Yeah.
I mean, if they win against the Jets, which they absolutely should, they're only 7 games away from that. The ceiling would be much higher.
They'd have to go 7-7 over their final 14 to win 10 games.
500 record against a schedule that still includes Cincinnati, Detroit. You got obviously tough games, but you got Cincinnati, Detroit, Philadelphia. And so don't you figure that's 3 wins right there? And so you have to go 4-7 against everybody else.
This second preseason thing is incredibly powerful because not only does it create confidence in the fan base, confidence in the quarterback, the team is going to be so confident coming out of these 3 games, again, touch wood, as long as they take care of business against the Jets, that it is just the effects of it will be felt for the entire rest of the season. And like you said, you have to go 500 against a schedule that includes those 3 teams, really have to go 4-7 against decent opponents, and they're going to feel like they, whether they're right or wrong, they are going to feel like a Super Bowl contender if they beat the Jets this week.
And they'll be playing that game at home where the stands will be absolutely on fire. You think it's, Vic was talking about it being lit for the Jets game. If they beat the Jets, you're talking about an old school.
Did he say lit?
I think so.
I don't think he did.
Or they say
Fired up, maybe?
Fired up.
Yeah.
What was the quote that he?
Lit up.
Lit
That's
up.
what
Yeah.
he said.
Yeah,
That's what
lit
he
up.
said.
Yeah, he
so
said
close.
Save's gonna lit up. All right, so if he thinks it's gonna be that way for the Jets, he hasn't seen coming to Denver a crowd like the one that would be greeting the Broncos when they play the Ravens. It would be, basically we'd be throwing it back 5 or 6 years, I think.
Yeah.
in terms
Fantastic.
of the enthusiasm.
I've been
'Cause
having
it's been pent up.
I've been having a bunch of dreams lately about roaring stadiums. Like, I feel like just getting a little taste of it being back. Now I'm like craving the sound that happens when the Broncos are up 6 late in the game and the other team is driving, and on like 3rd and 7, Von Miller gets a sack.
Yeah, it's going to be
Like,
huge. It's going to explode.
I have chills right now thinking about this. That sound is like the best sound in the world to me.
There aren't many players on this team who've really experienced that.
Yep.
Because there aren't many guys left from the glory days. Funny, one who does know what that sounds like, albeit on the opposite end, is Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
When he was trying to bring the Vikings back in that great 2015 game the teams played.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, he knows it from being in
Right.
the Superdome and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I can't wait. And you're right. This week will be fired up. And if they take care of business next week, I mean, because of the starvation for good Broncos football, it could be like a level that we really haven't seen since the playoffs of 2015.
Right, exactly.
I was thinking the Panther game in 2016,
Yeah.
the opener.
The opener. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Next one from Melbourne Broncos says, hi, guys. We all know our rushing game needs to lift. How does our offensive line stack up against the Jets' defensive line? Will this week be the game we see one or both of our running back duos crack 100 yards and a touchdown?
That happened already, right? Melvin?
Is he saying both of them together or like both of them individually?
He said one or both get 100 yards and a touchdown.
It already did happen with Melvin. And the Jets' running defense has given up back-to-back 100-yard games already. So...
To who? Like
To the-
total rushing yards or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, total rushing yards. So this is a team that you can run against. You should really be able to do anything you want against them.
Yeah, I want to see 150 at least
Total.
between the two.
Yep. Yeah. That's.
Do you think they split carries again this week?
Yes.
Yep.
Straight down the middle like the last two?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yep.
And then if Javonte once again outperforms Melvin in those opportunities, do you think then the next week is when he gets the nod?
Potentially. I think they're going to keep this 50-50 as long as they can.
Makes no sense to me, but I trust you.
I just think that's what they'll do.
You're keeping him fresher for the longer haul.
But I would just
Keeping him both from wearing down.
Portion it out a little bit. Last week was 13-13. This week I'd probably go 15-11. If it happens again, I'd probably go 17-10. Just slowly start moving them one way because, I mean, if one guy's averaging 4.5 yards a carry and the other guy's averaging 2.5, every time you give the other guy a carry,
Of course, Melvin still has the big breakaway though among the two of them.
he does.
So
But without that, he's averaging like 2.5 yards a carry.
One thing that the Broncos need, though, is the line to do a lot better at
Yes.
getting these guys space up front, or else it's not really going to matter who's in there unless Melvin's breaking one. But yeah, Javonte's looked very good, but you need to see the line get 2 yards a push so that the running back can get 2 or 3 more yards, and then you're talking about 4 or 5 yard gains.
Next one's from Kirk Smith, 44. Just to follow up to yesterday, I bought the shirt for my wife and I. I never sit on the same side of the booth as my wife. Also, she's a shirt girl on game day. I'm a jersey guy on game day, so we won't be wearing it at the same time. As for the Broncos, I think Ryan hit it on the head yesterday. We need to send more on the pass rush to create more sacks and turnovers. That being said, if we can't keep the opponent below 20 points, then I don't. If we can keep the opponent below 20 points, then I don't care how we get there. I think the same thing. Again, second preseason. I don't think that Vic is showing everything he has on defense yet. I don't think he's even close to showing everything he has on defense yet.
Yeah, and there's really no reason to. And you shouldn't do it this week against the Jets either. You're going to need to bring some tricks out. Now, this is going to be showing your own tricks against the Baltimore Ravens, but you're going to have to change up your defense a little bit to contain Lamar.
Oh, yeah. A lot of it. You're going to have to call an entirely new defense.
Yep, exactly. Now, next one from Broncos Only says, what were the extreme measures that the Giants and Jags went to stop the Broncos running game? Of course, this is referring to Vic saying that the Giants and Jags went to extreme measures.
I mean, they filled the box, but I think the extreme measures term is kind of overstating it.
Yeah, I do too.
A little bit. And I think part of it also, the Giants, we know how strong they are in the interior defensive line, and we saw how many matchups that Leonard Williams in particular was winning. And the Jags do, for all the flaws on defense, they don't have a bad defensive line. And so now, you went up against two teams that were probably strongest up front compared to the other lines of defense. In particular, Josh Allen caused a lot of problems on Sunday. So I think some of the extreme measures are just, you've seen some pretty good players up front in the last 2 weeks.
You hope that every team continues to go to extreme measures to stop the Broncos' run. Why?
Yeah.
Because Teddy Bridgewater leads the NFL in pass attempts beyond 20 yards, and he's also completing 77% of his passes. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna win you a lot of games if you're completing almost 80% of your passes, and you're pushing the ball down the field at a higher rate than anyone else. It means that you're creating big plays after big plays. You keep doing it. Keep daring Teddy Bridgewater to do it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Keep doing it because he's balling out right now. And just how much better could he be, guys, if he also gets help from the running game? Now, maybe you're not seeing 328 passing yards, but maybe you are seeing this team put 31 on the board week in and week out. Mm-hmm. And then Teddy, while the yards come down, the completion percentage stays up, the passer rating stays up, and the touchdowns go up. Because instead of getting 2 or 3 touchdowns as an offense, you're getting 4 or 5.
I'll admit I was disappointed they didn't get to 30 last week.
Yeah.
And
they could have. They could have just run it in at the end.
Yeah, you know what? I know you're kind of doing the sportsman-like thing. Just score the touchdown.
Urban Meyer doesn't deserve any sportsmanship.
Right, thank you. Urban Meyer has run it up on so many helpless college teams over the years that I wanted the Broncos to just punch it in on them right there.
This should have been a nod to Draymond Jones.
It should have just been
They should have brought Draymond Jones as a lead back and then given him the ball and let him put or maybe have him do the Dontari Poe. It wouldn't be the fat
jump
Tebow.
pass.
The jump have him do the jump pass. That would have been chef's kiss.
I mean, like I said, Urban Meyer has done nothing to deserve anyone's sportsmanship.
And I had a weekend visiting my parents of hearing how much my mother hates Urban Meyer. like white hot passion.
I love that.
Cannot
Your mom
stand
has
him.
sports takes.
Yeah.
Lots of good sports
Doesn't
takes.
like the Jags, does like Teddy.
Loves Teddy, hates Urban Meyer.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's on the right path here, guys.
I think so too.
Yeah.
All right. If we didn't get to your question today, bring it over to tomorrow. We'll make sure to get to it then. But for now, that's going to wrap it up. Before we get out of here, shout out to Green Mountain Dental Group, family-owned dentist group, just outside of Denver, probably about 15-minute drive outside of downtown. Easy trek over there. And if you schedule a cleaning, X-ray, and exam, they're going to hook you up with the free Sonicare toothbrush. They took care of us. They've been a part of the DNVR family. They sponsored the podcast throughout the entirety of the pandemic. They are great people over there, and they're absolutely the place to go if you need any dental work done. But for today, that's going to wrap it up for us on the DNVR Broncos podcast. Thanks to everyone who listened live. Hit us with a thumbs up on YouTube on your way out. We'll catch you tomorrow.